Hello and welcome to the Fishing Guide Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Weekman. We have a special edition Christmas issue, I guess you would say almost, but podcast show. We have Lawrence Taylor here. He's with Daisy. And Daisy, of course, has a whole theme, movie, book?
Oh, it's our time of year. And first of all, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you, Lawrence.
Yeah, this is our time of year. You know, it's said the Daisy Red Ryder is America's #1 Christmas gift, and the movie that runs 24, 48 hours constantly during the holiday season kind of really supports that.
Yeah, and so the reason why we bring Lawrence in, LT in, and talk about Daisy BB gun is because most guys that are fishermen, they're hunters. And so they all started when they were younger with a Red Ryder.
We had a study done about 8 years ago that caught people coming out of Bass Pro and Cabela's and things like that, and asked them, what was the first gun that you ever shot? And over 80% said it was a BB gun, but over 80% of those people said it was a Daisy BB gun.
Yeah, I can believe that. Easy enough. So let's talk a little bit about, we'll start with your history. So some people that are listening to the show obviously know that you came from the fishing industry into Daisy, but you worked for a while at a fishing company. So
worked for some wonderful brands, Yum and Booyah and Heddon, some classic brands, Arbogast. Some of those that I'd sneak back and look through old catalogs for hours at a time and hide from everybody and just kind of gaze through the old Heddon catalogs from 1887, 1890, and what they were doing back then is really interesting.
Yeah, and the industry's really changed.
It's changed a little bit.
A little bit, but I mean, the internet's changed it some, and so it is what it is. I know we used to do a lot of trips, media trips, and you'd have us come along, and we had a great media trip over on Grand Lake. We have to tell at least one fishing story.
Okay. All right.
We were over there with Terry Scroggins, and Terry and I were up front, and we were catching fish on a football head jig, and Lawrence was in the back, and he's struggling real hard, and Terry and I are looking at each other and we're giggling because we know what the deal is. We're doing like the Biffle shuffle, I guess. We're reeling it, and Lawrence is back there. He's working his jig a little, and he's pausing it, and he's working a little bit, and they might nip at it, and he would set the hook. Terry and I would be up front there just like he done. And
the key was to keeping it moving and just ticking the rock every once in a while. But until I learned that, I don't think I caught a fish.
You didn't, but finally we cued you in. But sometimes it's just like that, Sometimes you just have to be cued into the right thing to get the bite. So, what's your most famous memory of fishing? Fishing, was it in the industry or was it fishing as a kid?
It would be a two-parter. I fished Lake Falcon with Alton Jones.
Wow.
And caught one that went over 10 pounds. And just when I came back, it was like, well, I'm not even interested in fishing around Tulsa here.
Right.
I'm not going to do any better than that. Yet went out to a little public lake, Bixoma, outside of Bixby, Oklahoma, and for just fun fishing with a friend, and caught one that was over 11 pounds. And that was like 2 months after I'd come back from fishing with Alton. So that's probably one of my strongest memories.
Wow. There you go. Well, let's talk about Red Ryder. You're here, and so they have Christmas edition Red Ryders, or how's that work?
There's two versions. There's the regular Red Ryder that you can purchase all year long, and for Christmas time, we do an exclusive Christmas Dream or Christmas Wish Red Ryder that you can get at Walmart. Right. You'll see those in those big aisle stoppers, that the package is right in the aisle, the big Christmas Dream. And that, of course, that comes from the Christmas Story movie. And it has a compass in the stock in this thing, which tells time on it.
Right. So like the original one, is that correct?
Right. Which, believe it or not, was not even made when the book was the story was written for Christmas Story.
Right.
The author had gotten two different BB guns mistaken in his mind, and the one that had the compass and the sundial in the stock was a pump BB gun we made back then, and the Red Ryder never had that. But of course, I said, well, for the movie, we're going to make it that way. So we had 6 of them made that way for the movie, and then a few years after that, started doing some Christmas specials that would have that on the stocks.
So what sticks out in the movie? Is it someone losing their eye?
Well, it's a lesson.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lesson that you always should wear safety glasses when you're shooting a BB gun. It's a little round thing that ricochets off any hard surface. So yeah, you should always wear your safety glasses.
That's just a joke because I know safety's first in the thing. And actually, that's the whole point of getting a BB gun for a lot of parents for their kids is to teach them safety first. And isn't that right?
We say that Red Ryder teaches more lessons than public schools. You learn gun safety and marksmanship with a tool that if you make a mistake, it's not a fatal mistake.
Right. So, and you actually have a national championship BB gun contest, do you not?
Right. We do every summer around 4th of July. We have the Daisy Nationals, and it's a 5-meter, 4-position championship match for kids age 8 to 15.
And that's kind of a step up from this gun, though. They're moving into marksmanship.
Right. They use more competitors. Air rifles is the 499B, and it is the most accurate BB gun that you can buy for short range shooting.
All right. So, kind of a fantasy trip for someone who loves Red Ryders. Would that be to the museum in Rogers?
Well, sure. Come down during the middle of the summer and go visit the Airgun Museum. We've got the world's largest Daisy Red Ryder propped up against the building.
Right.
And go over and see the Daisy Nationals and just enjoy being with the kids.
So Walmart carries your BBs for the world's largest gun? Or?
They would be the size of a ping pong ball.
It'd be pretty big.
It would be big. Yeah.
Tell us more about the museum because I know people come from all over the world. Do they not?
Right, they do. In fact, they recently put up we had a map of the United States that everyone who come in could take a pen and put it up their hometown.
Right.
But we had to add one of the world because we're having so many visitors from overseas that would come in and want to put the pen in the map of their hometown. So it's on right downtown, old part of Rogers in the really cool area.
Historical district.
And you can go in and see air guns like what Lewis and Clark carried on when they did their exploration. Right. And then you can follow the history of Daisy. It started in 1881 or so as a iron windmill company. It wasn't making BB guns and was not doing well. And this guy brings in this BB gun and they look at it and shoot it in the trash can, and the guy says, well, that's a Daisy. And that's kind of how the name came about.
Right.
And we started giving them away when someone would buy a windmill. So, and then, of course, they got more popular than the windmills. So we stopped making windmills and just became a BB gun company.
So how did it get from there into Rogers, Arkansas?
It was in Plymouth, Michigan, outskirts of Detroit. And by it was 1958, we made the move to come down to Rogers because Rogers is centrally located for shipping anywhere in the U.S. It was the management at the time had visited several times and loved the people and the work ethic and knew that you could get a full day's work for a full day's pay, and just brought more than 100 people down from Michigan to Rogers then.
And the old manufacturing location is actually changed to another location.
Right.
But you took the sign, didn't you?
Right. The sign is classic. I wish that I had grown up here so that, especially this time of year when there's lights on houses and everything, that old Daisy neon sign just would be a high point of any time, being outside, driving around. So
right. So how many Red Ryder type BB guns do you make? Do you make quite a few?
Well,
and how many BB guns do you sell overall? Stock?
On a yearly basis, we sell in excess of 250,000 BB guns. We have a pretty extensive line with the Model 25 pump, which is a pretty popular gun. We have the Buck, which is a smaller version. It's made for the smallest frame shooter. It fits.
Is that the youth, like the youth one? Is that what they?
Right. It's just this long, and it's nothing more uncomfortable than trying to teach a kid to shoot and improve his marksmanship when he's got the stock is too long and it's under his armpit, and you can't. So if you get a gun that fits the kid better, you're going to have more success teaching gun safety and teaching marksmanship, because they'll actually be able to look right down the barrel and get that sight picture right.
So let's talk about targets, so people know that now you have that. Do you have some targets that they could shoot at, so they're not just shooting somewhere where they shouldn't?
Sure. We've got the Red Ryder shooting gallery is a box about yay big that you punch out the front, and it's got a BB stop in there, and you can hang targets in it. And that actually is really popular where it's cold a lot of times, because you can put it at the end of the hallway, or you can put it down in the basement. You can shoot inside.
Wow. That's pretty cool wintertime activity, I guess.
Right.
So we've been known to shoot 1 or 2 BB guns out the back here.
That's right.
So that's pretty cool. What else can you tell us that we might not know about Red Ryders?
Well, we've been making them since 1940.
Right.
It took us about 10 years or so to sell the first million, but after that, we've just increased, it seems, almost yearly till we hit the pandemic year.
Right.
We just skyrocketed because everyone wanted something to do at home, something they could do in their backyard with their family, or so even inside. So the pandemic was really, really good for business.
Right. It was good for a lot of businesses. Bad for others.
Yeah.
Good for some.
Tragic for.
You see, and that takes us into Tackle Time. Tackle Time sponsored by Pico Lures. Pico Lures has a complete line of hard and soft baits. Anything that you're fishing for, they got a lure that can catch them. So make sure you check out their lures at picolures.com. Lawrence, tell them a fishing story about me, because you've been in the boat with me a bunch of times.
Well, I think that once we were fishing Ouachita, and it was freezing cold. It was in December, and I had to run up to the store to get coffee, I think, before we got out on the water. And I bought a fruit pie and stuck it in my pocket, and then I don't know if you even remember that. About 3 hours later, I stuck my hand in there, and the pie had come out of the carton that it was in, and I stuck my hand. It was all over my keys and all over my hand. You don't remember that?
No, but that would have been funny. Lawrence isn't going to miss a meal, so
no, I got to have snacks.
Likewise, he had to go get a real job and stop playing around with fishing. No. So,
and I'm ready to go play around with some fish right now. Brad.
That's what we're off to do. We're going to go catch some. So it's that time of year. It's winter. We're going out and we're doing a lot of live scope fishing. We're looking at the fish on the graph. We're presenting, putting a presentation of a spoon or a hair jig or a jerk bait, a swim bait type thing. So that's what we're looking at doing this time of year, and it's really fun. The water's clear, so we're getting some real clear images on our sonar unit. So that's what we're off to do, and that means we got to keep going. So here we go. Like I always like to end the show, make sure you keep your hook sharp and your lures in the water.